This is what radical hospitality requires of us. The ability to move from positions to people. The willingness to welcome people rather than cling to principles. The passion to receive the least, the lost, the outcast, and the oppressed, even if it means that we ourselves are ridiculed, challenged, harangued, or judged. To stand alongside those who will show us the very face of God. If you want to see it in action, come to church on Saturday morning. Just yesterday, our breakfast at the Cathedral program that we affectionately call Bach fed 93 people, up from the 77 last week. Only mind you, we didn't just feed them, put up a table, let them shuffle through a line, pick up their food. No. The members of our church, who are ministers in this ministry, set a table for them, welcomed them to sit and be served, visited with them and looked into their eyes and listened to their stories. Why? Because it is required of us. This is important. They didn't just get food, they were served food. They were treated as human beings. This is what is required of us as followers of Jesus Christ. You want to know why? Look into the eyes of those in our congregation who serve in this ministry. You will see light there, a light shining from them that cannot be defined or even fully understood. You will see that they have looked at the stranger and have seen the face of the risen Christ. This is what it means to be people of radical hospitality. Now, let me say to you on this Pride Sunday, we are still light years away from the world welcoming us as gay, lesbian, bisexual, and transgendered people, our family and friends, and all of those who are queer because they think differently and act differently. Don't believe me? Then watch. Watch and see what happens in this political season. Already there are those who are lining up to ensure that LGBT people, our family and friends, will be scapegoats in the coming election. We will be used to scare people into passing legislation that makes us second-class citizens. We will be used as fear bait for all who have forgotten the biblical imperative of hospitality. But make no mistake about it. We have been uniquely gifted to bless others. We know what hospitality is because we have so often not received it. It has been handed to us by our families of choice who have gone before us and taught us what it means to live dignified lives, loving others not because they act like us or they are like us, but because they are different than we are. We have been taught how to set a place at the table for everyone. And one day, mark my words, one day the world is going to grow tired of the fear and hate that prevails and is going to look up and look around to see where there is a place of welcome and of peace. And what they will see is a cathedral of the 21st century dedicated to reclaiming the gospel message of radical welcome. 39 years ago, on June the 28th, 1969, drag queens in New York City fought back and said, "Enough is enough." 38 years ago, 12 people gathered in this city, not a bastion for liberalism at the time, gathered in this city because they believed that all should be welcomed at God's table. And the question for us today is, do we have the courage to follow? Because, my friends, there are people all over this nation who are crying, "Oh God, when it appears that my enemies have power over me. Oh God, when?" Friends, I call upon you now, as people of faith, as disciples of Jesus Christ, to rise up and live into your unique giftedness of hospitality and show the world what it really means to bear the name Christian. It actually doesn't require a lot. Jesus said that all we have to do is offer a cup of cold water to the one who is a stranger among us. Oh, I know we like to do things over the top, dress things up real pretty. I mean, just look at our robes, but that's not actually what's required of us. All we have to do is offer a cup of cold water, literally or figuratively, to someone who is a stranger. This morning, will you join me? Join me in praying for the opportunity to welcome those who are outcast and oppressed. Then we will truly be a church that Jesus Christ will call his very own. A while back, I was having a discussion with a friend of mine about the LGBTQ listing of letters by which the gay community identifies itself. And my friend was asking what the Q stood for, and I said, well, I think it means queer or questioning. I'm not altogether sure. My friend bowed up a bit and said, well, I'm just sick of it all. I'm just sick of this alphabet soup. I'm just sick of it all. When are we going to stop adding all these letters? I mean, it's ridiculous. And I said, well, it is kind of funny, isn't it? I mean, we just keep adding letters. LGBTQ, LMNOP. And then I thought about it, Isn't that the way it should be? If we're going to follow in the way of Jesus, then surely we should just keep adding letters. LMNOP, QRSTUV, WXYZ. We should be willing to keep adding letters until all have found their place at the table of God's grace. All know that they are named and claimed by a God who loves and adores them. All are welcome and no longer strangers. All are loved and beloved. You know that truth. Surely it is our greatest calling. Amen.